Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
There is one change, item 9 on the agenda, the discussion item. The motion should be changed from 13 to 15.
Okay, got it. Mayor Samayoa, please. We have a presentation, I take it. Is that microphone, pardon me, is that microphone working? We need Ricky's dulcet tones.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sir.
Thank you again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members, staff. Ricky Samayoa from Blue Zones Project here in Yuba-Sutter as their public policy lead, which means I'm a better looking guy than Eric was. So Eric did this work before me, and a lot of this work that I'm going to present was led by Eric. So I want to give him the credit for this work. So the city of Marysville, I came to share some really successful story on your 14th Street traffic calming project that you put together. I believe it was funded via SACOG to put together those traffic calming items along 14th Street. So we're here to present some of the analysis that we did for you. We supported you. We've been supportive of your city efforts since 2022. We brought national expertise through Dan Burton. I don't think he's in that picture, but in the packet you received, there's some information about Dan and his expertise as a leading designer of urban environments. Of course, Eric did a lot of community engagement along with Vincenzo, going out door to door, kind of explaining the project to community members in that neighborhood. And we also supported the application for this particular project with SACOG. Just a little thing about kind of the reasoning why we did this. The next slide, please. Why traffic calming matters and what effects that it did on 14th Street. Really important parts. If you go to the next slide, thank you. This is, to me, one of the most powerful kind of slides that I saw from Blue Zones, and this was put together by Blue Zones LLC, which is the corporation that we work for. Higher speed reductions reduces the quality of life, meaning The survival rate is directly tied to vehicle speed. So if a pedestrian gets hit by an automobile at 20 miles an hour, their survival rate is 1.5 out of 10. As the speeds go up, as you see, if you get hit by a car going at 40 miles an hour, your survival rate is about 1.5. So speed matters, especially, and that's really one of the main reasons why it was important to slow down that traffic along 14th Street. And also because people were cutting the state highway and going around residential areas, especially Dist Street. And we know we had daycare, we had residents out there. And so one of the main things that you guys were able to do is remove that traffic away from the residential areas. So I'll show you some pre and post data later on. But it also has economic benefits. And I think you just get a sense when you go to a place where there's not a lot of traffic or a lot of speeding in your community, those properties actually have a higher value in those communities. Also, community benefits. People feel safe going outside and interacting and enjoying and being more active, and that creates more eyes in your neighborhoods, which actually creates a safer neighborhood. So just going back, some of the things that we did at 14th Street in collaboration with the city of Marysville, we worked on the pre-implementation community engagement. We went door to door, Eric and some of his volunteers, and with Vincenzo. And I think one of the benefits was that Eric actually speaks Spanish, and he actually spoke Spanish to a lot of the residents that lived in that neighborhood in their language. Expert consultation with Don Byrne. He actually visited us. Many of you met him. We collected data, and we continue that strong partnership with city staff, including Dan. Even Dan was a partner in that. Here's the pre and post. So the pre-counts, and these were taken on March 27th, and we did them all at the same time between 7 and 9 a.m. in the morning, and then 2:30 and 5 p.m. In the afternoon. So this is D Street southbound. These are folks turning left or going southbound from 14th going down to along Ellis Lake. So that particular day, we counted 440 vehicles. These are just regular cars. We're not talking buses. We're not talking heavy trucks. Post the installation of that no left turn, there was only 33 cars going southbound. Mostly those cars were actually turning right, coming down eastbound on 14th Street, turning right. East Street, southbound, went from 254 to 1325 vehicles during those times. 421% change between those two counts. In H Street, we actually saw a bit of a reduction on southbound H Street. So a lot of folks that were trying to cross, cut through around the lake and do a shortcut, they were actually taking E Street. So most of that traffic actually was reduced from the neighborhood areas and actually came down on E Street.
May I add something?
Yeah, sure.
Go back to that slide. I live on D Street on the affected area. Some people were saying this was done to my influence. It was not. There's a child care facility right across the street from me. And the southbound traffic drives southbound is right lane. It's on the east side of the west side of the street, which is where that is. And I would see cars flying down there 40, 50 miles an hour, and parents letting off their kids. It was always frightening. That's been a real relief. And the sign that the city's put up indicating the fastest way to Yuba City is a left on E Street. Mm-hmm. Therefore, the E Street traffic, and it's been effective.
So congratulations on that. This is great news. So the policy you implemented is actually working as was forecasted. So those are good news. I just want to show you a quick count on heavy trucks. So actually there were zero heavy trucks along D Street. So that reduced the entire actually heavy trucks going down on D Street. Other than that, things stay fairly the same. southbound and northbound on East Street with heavy trucks. A lot of those trucks end up going to Ramos, I imagine, to the gas area there. But a lot of them, as probably our chief knows, are trying to cut also through on a no. It's not supposed to be a truck route, right? So they're supposed to actually just go back and get back into the state highway, not cut across. And so we'll talk a little bit about that later. But I just thought I'd give you also. We also took account of heavy trucks along those streets. Any questions about the counts?
I had one question.
Yeah.
The post count, was that with the traffic signal at 14th and E
Flashing.
flashing?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And that really does, well, I think that actually discourages pedestrians because cars are just not really slowing down. They're just kind of taking that left fairly quickly without making a lot of full stops out there. So this created an issue, but I think it's an opportunity for us. And so this really was spurred by Yuba County Office of Education, who knew that Blue Zones project was working with the city on 14th Street and putting together those calming items along that street. And so so I think Marnie convened city, Yuba County Office of Ed, brought all you guys together to kind of look at that particular intersection that, as you know, T. Matthews is right there, Yuba County Office of Ed offices are on the other side. Actually, this particular intersection is used a lot by residents that live on the west side of that neighborhood to try to even enjoy the park, to go enjoy the lake. We know that even Cal Water, between two offices, use that intersection as well to kind of cross over to their lake offices from Yuba Water Agency. I apologize for that. But East Street is 73 feet wide. 12th Street is 54 feet wide. So and even imagine a mom with a stroller, which one of our staff was talking about. She happens to live on the west side of that neighborhood. You actually have to sneak in to cross because you can't really see the traffic coming southbound. So it's really like there's no real protection for pedestrians, and cars tend to be taking sharp turns there. So we brought Dan back, and we did this pilot project, really a demonstration project, and with the help of Public Works and the fire department, we actually put together this. If you go to the next slide, if you press play, if you can see we took a drone of what improvements we can make to slow down traffic in that intersection and really reduce the speed. If you go a little, okay, that'd be good. If you maybe stop a little bit more, right there. That guy's about to turn left, right there. Keep going a little bit more. But even turning left, if you stop there. So we bulbed out. So in your packet, it's a toolkit on how to put this together and how to engineer it and the benefits. So as you can see, pedestrians now have a safety path. That bulb out would actually provide a safety, and they can see traffic coming in southbound and northbound. They actually have a traffic island right there that could also provide some safety between, and they don't have to walk 74 feet. They have to walk maybe 10 feet at a time, depending on the width. Cars probably only need about 8 feet, 9 feet to actually move along. So you can actually slow down traffic really a lot by actually reducing the size of that width of that lane. Anyway, so and then we can actually improve a crosswalk on the southbound, so then T. Matthews students or staff can actually use that to move safely. So we can do striping, we can do bulb outs, you can do art to kind of create those intersections and slow down traffic. So we know that there's a lot more traffic going down that street. We know that the speeds are between 30, 40, close to 50 miles an hour sometimes because it's just such a wide street. If you go up to to the one above, the one above, really quickly, I guess I just want to go back to the problem. Between 40 and 45 school zone, the wide street does encourage this unsafe speed, and really, this is an inexpensive way to create safety, not only for the students that work or staff that work there, but in my mind, a lot of the residents would use this to go enjoy the Ellis Lake. The folks that work in those offices will enjoy that crosswalk and safety features for the city. My understanding, and this is a question to Vincenzo, is that the 14th Street project funded by SACOG, I think with the work in collaboration with Blue Zones, he was able to save some dollars from that grant. And again, I don't know the amount or how much there's left, but I imagine that maybe even working with SACOG, we might be able to use those funds to be able to put together this demonstration project. Again, that's a question for SACOG, question for Vincenzo, and I don't know exactly how much spent, but my understanding, because of the collaboration and what we brought in from Blue Zones, he was able to save some dollars in that particular grant to create those elements on 14th Street. So what we ask for the council is really to greenlight this effort from E and 12th Street demonstration project. And these pictures kind of show different ways that you can actually bulb out and create these safe spaces for pedestrians, whether it's using art or, and we will probably use those candles that are used for 14th Street, just at least to have that more fixed demonstration project, and then create that greater sense of safety for pedestrians and slow down traffic. We would love to work with city staff to conduct the pre and post community engagement with neighbors, similar to what we did on 14th Street project. And I think it would be a great idea to continue partnering with Yuba County Office of Ed and maybe working with them and finding the best solution for that area. Again, the toolkit is in your packet on how to design the benefits of it to slow down traffic. Again, Blue Zones.
If I may for a
yes,
moment.
Of course.
Now, I know our Public Works Director, Vincenzo, was, in fact, I drove by. I stopped by and said hello to you guys when you were mapping that out. Is there any action forward on that or further consideration within city management?
Well, we have been discussing two things related to the grant, and there is funding left over, but the grant was written as a 14th Street effort. We would have to work with SACOG to make those changes.
Or come up with our own money, whichever.
Or come up with our own money. But the other effort we talked about was making the 14th Street features permanent. So we're looking at both. And I think the pilot was successful, but at some point we need to make these things permanent. So we should be looking forward to not only just these quick builds, but how we replace the quick builds with a permanent solution.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. I think one thing that we are interested in also supporting is the community engagement. We want to make sure that we want to find out, like, kind of post, what did you think about the 14th Street, and then what do you think about, maybe an E12 solution, and then, maybe there's other areas in that neighborhood that they might be interested in. They see the benefits on 14th Street. Maybe they want to slow down traffic in other areas in that neighborhood. So we would love to continue working with the city in community engagement, going door to door, knocking folks, asking, what their thoughts were, and getting that feedback and getting that data. Technical expertise. We would be interested in bringing Dan back or some other engineer to actually design it for the city as well, whatever solution we can come up with. So we're willing to also support that as well. Some technical assistance, grant writing, if we need support on that as well, we can support that. And, of course, just the advocacy efforts, whether we, at the Sacramento or SACOG, we're always willing to go out and support that as well.
Chair?
And this might be a question for you, Rick, or Jim. In talking about some of the 14th Street, I love the data that you presented right there with the reduction of traffic down D and E and so forth. But the roundabout, do you have any numbers on that, or do you have any numbers on that? Has that been beneficial
I think the slide that he showed early on provided some information on how the roundabout and the speed bumps are working there. It showed a decrease, well, and it's a combination of different features. That one there, I believe. So pre-count, you see
On H Street.
On H Street.
H Street cut down by 33%.
Okay. And you believe that correlates directly with the roundabout? They decided to go
Roundabout
down.
and the speed bumps, I think it's discouraged people from using that route. But you see the unintended consequence, so to speak, the E Street. We drove traffic down E Street rather than those other streets.
Which I'm not sure I'm opposed to. I just want to see what the information was.
Yeah, and I think we're on the right track here. We're doing these pilots because we don't want to invest in something that doesn't work, invest a lot of dollars into something that doesn't work.
Agreed.
I think there are more than ample opportunities, even beyond 12th and E, to make additional pilot changes. And if they work, then we need to look for larger grants that will fund the permanent changes.
And we'll have data.
Yeah.
Data.
As an example, I think we've got a proposal in that area with CDBG, and we might be able to incorporate some of those features in with the CDBG grant.
Thank you for presenting this tonight. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for that question.
I walk that neighborhood. I live in that neighborhood. And I walk it a lot. And I've noticed the difference. Speed. And I'll go down 14th Street, and I got the speed bumps. Traffic circles, slow traffic. See it. And the reduction on H Street is part of the increase on E Street. We're trying to push traffic to E Street. Now we've got an E Street issue because of the speed, but that's always been an issue there. It's nothing to see a car going 60 miles an hour down E Street. This is working. There's more to do, and I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, so we're here to help. We're here to support and collaborate for sure.
And we're fortunate that Vincenzo is a real big advocate of these approaches also.
He's absolutely.
Not here tonight, but he's on our team.
Yep.
And do we know what kind of funding is required to do what's been suggested here? It doesn't seem like it'd be a lot.
This quick build, I don't think would accommodate with the leftover, or for sake of allow us to go outside of
Well, and they may be interested because I'm on the transportation committee as you were, Ricky, and this project has been spoken of at SACOG, and we've got a winner. They probably want to celebrate a winner and make it more permanent so we can get their money. If not, let's use our own.
Yeah, and I suggest that we meet again, convene the staff with the Yuba County Office of Ed, and again, we can bring the engineering designs. They've already been developed, and I mean, this can be done fairly quickly. As you know, 14th Street was done fairly quickly, but we'd love to get that engagement with the community so we can calendar that out, and I think we can move forward fairly quickly before the spring, in my mind, before Q1, in my mind. But again, staff will.
This is, to me, this is an example of how we get many grants that applied for that don't have twelfth and 8th. Same time, larger money.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, as we get information from the community there might be other things that they're interested in seeing as well, and that could be put into the plan.
I've mentioned this before. If you go off highway, and that's 20 in Yuba City, 20 and 99. You go off highway through residential neighborhoods, you don't see the kind of speeding you see in Marysville. And this is the cut-through neighborhood. And you see lots of speeding. Driving those streets and everybody's going 25, maybe 30. And This is improved, but it can be improved more. It'll make a big difference to a really substantial neighborhood. Sure.
I had a question for Ricky on this. With the design that you've got there, is that for the most part just striping with maybe some speed dots
Yeah, I think
in
you
here?
saw-
Because I don't know if I'm seeing exactly what you've got there. It looks like striping.
there was some striping. That was actually me with the spray can spraying. I was out there at home.
But, well, what would it consist of to try to do this?
Well, you engineer it correctly. You probably get better engineering. That was done with foam, so you can use those candle foams. You can use art to actually stripe. You can use art to kind of show, a little bit better. The island, again, with the striping, and you probably want to stripe a crosswalk on that south island like this.
So some of that you're talking about with the cones there, those could be concrete curbs? That's what I'm trying to get. I don't want to go into the project without having an idea where we're going, because this setup, just for the testing purposes, seems like it would be not much money at all to do this. But then I just want to have an idea what we're going from that step.
Probably
Cement,
concrete curbs.
pop outs,
It's a little bit expensive.
pop outs, and that kind of stuff.
We definitely don't have that type of
No.
No.
this grant.
But some communities, Vice Mayor, use planters. They'll use a planter or something. So if you look at the packet, you'll see some pictures of some communities where they'll use things like planters or some other things that aren't necessarily that fixed, but
I
also,
gotcha.
provide also the same benefits. So these folks, use concrete and some of this.
Yeah,
but
I see that.
there's some other folks who use like rocks and planters.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? And, doesn't have. Again, I think it's just part of the.
I was just more questioning what the test part would be, because if we're doing it with cones and striping, that ought to be pretty minimal expense to
It's
it.
likely the delineators similar
Yeah.
to on D where we block the left turn.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the extent of this pilot.
That's for the pilot part.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I think those things are
But
ugly.
I
ugly
think
as sin.
I think eventually we want to do something permanent that looks nice, as Ricky pointed out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
We have a project on the board for 22nd Street, and it will be a significant focus of that project will be improving the street, also slowing traffic. 22nd Street from Highway 20 over to the high school.
Right. And I also asked Vincenzo if he needed help engaging that community in that neighborhood as well. So Blue Zone is willing to actually call a community meeting as well to engage with them or go around if there's need.
There is a need, and we'll be enlisting your help.
Okay.
We really need to understand how we're going to do the bike lanes.
Okay, perfect.
There's speed signs, radar signs, both northbound and southbound. Do they collect data? They do collect
Do
data?
they collect data? Okay, that's
Oh,
great to know.
you got to get a hold of that data.
I had that question.
Then you'll see the speeds. It's time of day and speed.
It'll give you counts, give you
Oh,
speed,
beautiful.
give you quite a bit of
Great
data.
to know. We had that question earlier today. Yeah, so thanks.
Hard data. Good deal. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Council.
Amen. Amen. We're going to move fast now. See you later, Ricky. Okay, we'll now move to public forum and the consent calendar. Anyone wishing to speak on the public forum on items not on the agenda or on the agenda, or on the consent agenda, I should say. If you you wish to speak and haven't got a speaker's card yet, that's the lady to get them from. And
Okay, Mayor, we do have one, Shannon McGovern.
welcome, Shannon.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. My name is Shannon McGovern. Sorry for being tardy to the podium. I had to fish out my glasses. My eyes are getting old here. I just wanted to provide a quick update to Council on the requested items as a result of the special meeting to discuss Cal Water's proposed rate structure filing with the CPUC. Just wanted to let you know that the city is in receipt of our profit loss statements that you requested, Mayor Branscombe, as well as, and I will let you know here, we've also attached an infrastructure improvement plan fact sheet for Marysville specifically. We've included percentages that show in broad categories how every penny of every dollar is allocated to the enterprise in Marysville as submitted to the CPUC for their consideration. Now, I think that it's important to remind you that we're still at least 6 to 12 months out from a proposed decision on rates from the CPUC, and so we will come back to you with periodic updates as there are some to report and information to share. And as always, hopefully all of you have my cell phone number. If you don't, I will reach out and make sure all of you have it. You can reach out to me anytime for any additional information. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my colleagues here tonight. Tavis Bainan is our district manager for Marysville, and Mary Jones is our operations manager. I'm the one who's communicating with you tonight, but they're the ones keeping the water on. So they're here joining me as well. I also would like to share that we have a meeting scheduled in coordination with Dan Flores and the city, a meeting to coordinate with the development and construction communities to better explain our processes, and see how we can work together and collaborate to better streamline their operations, their project planning, so that we are all on the same page to avoid as many costly delays as we can. That meeting is scheduled for March 3rd at the Cal Water office on D Street at 11 a.m. We will make sure that there's a calendar invite that is shared with you. We also have been in communications with, I believe his first name is Dan, but Mr. Bregman, is that correct? Regarding a comprehensive rate analysis. We've been communicating with him. He's already been requesting information. We're happy to provide it. We're happy to collaborate in that process so that you get a really, really clear understanding of the breakdowns of the differences in rates between Marysville and surrounding communities. There's a lot that goes into to rate making, and every community is vastly different. So our books are open, and we're looking forward to working with him to make sure he has all the information that he needs.
I'll look forward to reviewing that. I've been out of pocket for a bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Also wanted to let you know that as you're communicating with your constituents and speaking to them about water rates, if you have anyone who is experiencing a hardship, please implore them to reach out to us. We have several customer assistance programs that all they need to do is give us a call. We'll work with them. We have customer assistance programs similar to that offered by PG&E. So if they qualify for that, they qualify for ours. The threshold to qualify is higher than some people think. So even though they may feel like they may earn too much money, they should reach out to us and check and see if they qualify for some sort of assistance. We also offer a program called Promise Pay, where if they're experiencing some sort of hardship, we'll work with them and set up a payment plan that works for them. And that's not a cookie cutter approach. That's on a one-off basis, depending on the needs of the customer. So for the record, I will just let you know that phone number for customers to call is area code 530-742-6911, and you'll be directed to our customer service representatives who can speak to them directly about options available to them. We don't want our customers to struggle unnecessarily, so if somebody experiences a big bill or a hardship, be it temporary or long-term, we're here to help. And that's all for me for this evening.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are those rate scales for qualifying for these programs listed on your website?
Yes, I believe so that they are. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
We have no other speakers tonight.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now go to the consent calendar. And as I'm sure most of you know, the consent calendars are approved in total. There are 8 items on the consent calendar.
To the chair.
Yes, sir.
I had asked to have one of the items removed earlier, item 6, and so we can just get a little bit of explanation with Carrie on some of the funding that she's looking for the city.
Carrie looks ready.
From the city.
Not now, Carrie. Just a minute.
So
Let me get through the consent bit first.
You want it removed from the consent and added to discussion?
Yeah.
We want to talk about it tonight, right?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. Well, I hope she got a heads up. Okay.
Okay.
I don't want to hit you cold.
To the chair.
Anyway, as I was about to say, approved in toto unless a member of the council or city manager decides a request one be removed. Any other requests in that regard?
I have one, Your Honor.
Yes.
Item 3, so that I can make my announcement official, since my appointee is actually in the audience this evening.
Okay. Here we go. So we're back down to items 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. What is the will of the council?
Move to approve.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Okay. We will now go to item number 3. Planning Commission appointment recommendation is pass an appropriately numbered motion. Pass a motion? We're not passing a motion. Well, anyway, we will acknowledge and support the appointment made by Councilmember Stuart Gilchrist for the final seat on the Planning and Historical Preservation Commission. Mr. Gilchrist.
I have appointed Michael Mahler, and we look forward to his contribution. I've known Michael for 55 years, so I can rely on him to do the right thing. That is my appointment.
You know what you're getting into? No, the city, we look forward to you joining it. The city is very well served by this Planning and Historical Preservation Commission. Welcome aboard. Is that official, Counselor? It is. You know, there you go. Okay. We now move to item number 6, and this is approval of 2025 event budgets for city-owned events. That would be the fireworks show, Peach Festival, and the Christmas parade. Recommendations pass a motion approving the 2025 event budget for the City of Marysville's 3 primary events: the 4th of July fireworks show, the Marysville Peach Festival, and the Marysville Christmas parade. Mr. Dan Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. And as you've mentioned, I think Vice Mayor Buttercavoli wanted some clarification mainly on the budget issues. So I'm going to go ahead and call Carrie up for any questions that you might have regarding the budget. But basically, just to refresh your memories, this item was passed as a motion where we were going to carry on these festivals for 2024 through 2026 under contract with Sapphire Marketing. and then re-up the budget every year, or you would re-examine the budget. So Carrie has presented the budgets for the 3 separate events, and any questions that you might have regarding the budget, she's here to answer.
So we're approved in concept through 26.
Correct.
Subject to
Budget
fine-tuning
approval.
the budget each year.
You got it. All right. Thank you, Mayor.
Ms. Houck?
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. The budgets, as you'll notice, the 4th of July and Christmas parade are very similar to what we had previously. But Peach Festival, you'll see that we're not in the black, we're in the red. We will do our best to raise those additional funds through sponsorships. However, if you might remember in the past couple of years, we've had a small entertainment budget and we've come back and asked for more funding. So this year, before I submitted a budget to you, I contacted Vice Mayor Buttacavoli and said, how much do we need? How much do you think we need for entertainment? And you're seeing it all up front. You're not going to get another ask later on for another allocation. The other change that we're asking for is we have not charged.
Pardon me. You said the Peach Festival, and typically it produces a surplus. Is that true?
That's true.
This year, though, it had to be slid down a whole block or so, didn't it?
Yes, it did in 2024.
I wonder if that made a difference.
I will tell you the feedback that I received was they loved that and they wanted us to keep that footprint in the future. I've talked to businesses, I talked to attendees, and
Well, you haven't talked to Casa Carlos because they hate
no.
it.
I really want to come up with something great to put in front of Casa Carlos.
We'll talk about that.
Okay. So a lot of great feedback on the footprint last year. But you'll see that the budget is in balance. The other change is we haven't charged you, Sapphire hasn't charged you for sponsor solicitation in the past. So I did up our budget. What we used to do is split any additional. So say my sponsor projection, I'm trying to raise $27,000 in sponsorship, and I come in $5,000 over that, then we split 50-50 the revenue. So instead of doing that, I'm proposing that you pay Sapphire Group to do all of the sponsor solicitation for these 3 events at once, which would happen likely later this month, perhaps early March, and that there's a $3,000 fee for us to do all of that sponsor solicitation for all 3 events.
Through the chair.
Sir.
So are you saying a one-time fee of $3,000 covers advertising and everything as well, or just your logistics and organization?
It would cover the print for the sponsorship packages when we go out and solicit, so design and print, and then our time for soliciting those sponsors and following up.
And so that would be in lieu of us splitting any sort of excess profit that we've done in the past?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Do you recall the data from the prior year
On the split?
on the Peach Festival?
Ooh, I don't have the actuals.
That'd be
memorized.
interesting to see.
Weren't we in the negative on last year's because of entertainment or something like that, for Peach Festival specifically?
I think we've been negative because of the additional allocation that we've had the past 2 years. 3 years ago, I believe it was Hard Rock came in and sponsored all of our entertainment. And that didn't happen in subsequent years, so the city came in and filled that budget, that entertainment budget.
So Sapphire Marketing will be in charge of all 3 of our legacies, as we once called them.
Mm-hmm.
And we did have a little bit of an issue with the 4th of July fireworks show, and you did negotiate a savings on that. Did that
Yes.
savings take care of any sort of negative in the other projects?
Well, we did negotiate a better deal for this year, so each of the municipalities will pay less this year.
Okay.
Their contribution will be lower, and I got a guarantee from the owner of the fireworks company that he will be on site firing the show. Okay. There won't be any delays this year, or our show is free, and we don't have to put a deposit down this year.
Well, I appreciate hearing that. But I mean, so you negotiated last year for less charge to them, and what was that savings?
I believe it was $7,000 or $7,500.
Okay, I can remember. We had the conversation.
It was something like that.
It was a while ago. So, And how much, because the mayor asked if you had the budgets for the Peach Festival, and I don't remember what those ones were either.
It's very similar to this as far as sponsor revenue and vendor revenue, because I only put in what I know for sure that I'm comfortable that we can raise,
Right.
that I'm comfortable that we'll receive in vendor revenue. So it's based off of last year's actuals.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, for the record, I'm not questioning anything you or Sapphire does. I really do appreciate what you guys have done for the city and so forth. And
Well, we appreciate you. And we
So-
love putting these events on. I personally have a soft spot in my heart for Marysville. So
I know you do.
As you know, yeah.
Thank you for everything you guys do. Appreciate that.
Back to the locations, and I'm not carrying water for Casa Carlos, but that place it had cannon practice inside that place, and typically you can't move inside there, and those are all taxable dollars, having the music right there, and then the other music at the other end where there's also some commercial activity that benefits. So I would suggest return to the success model, because I know for a fact that they had purchased a lot of inventory, goods that they couldn't sell. And the city lost out because they weren't selling things, and we were collecting what we collect on that. So I think the entertainment should be near venues that are generating a lot of income and other activity.
Well, we can certainly look at switching it back. We could even look at keeping the stage at the north side of the 6th and D Street intersection, and maybe
North
move
side
it
of what?
6th and D Street intersection, and not putting it on 6th where it was right in front of Casa Carlos, because the bands that played that stage complained because it is so hot with the sun beating down on them, especially later in the evening. And so they actually preferred the 8th Street location. But maybe if we could move it
Now, who's
to
that?
the bands, the entertainers.
They're paid.
I know.
I
I know you have no
I'm
sympathy,
sorry.
right?
They're paid, and we can put up a better sunblock or something.
Let me respond to that, because I've been one of
A
them.
performer. Don't listen to
Been
him.
there a lot. So I did have nothing but positive about the way it was changed. What I would, because the heat, I have all kinds of people tell me, no, they won't play unless they're the last two shows on Friday night and Saturday night. But would there be possibly a way that we do something else to attract maybe a small stage with some small music, or
Sure.
or I don't know, did you have booths down that street?
We had a couple of
Something
booths.
that would draw other than the big stage?
We had a couple of booths, and then down in the center we had an ag display from MIS. So there was ag equipment on display there.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'm just thinking if there was a way to help draw that spot, because I'm telling you, people don't want to play it.
One thing I've toyed with is putting the children's area there and putting, but I don't know that that's the crowd that Ron is looking to attract to Casa Carlos, right?
I'll repeat. Casa Carlos, I'm just on observing activity and retail and commercial activity in the downtown area. Casa Carlos is one of the most significant contributors, and that's what the city of Marysville lives on, sales tax. And so we'll talk about this some more. They took a big hit. They took a big hit.
We can do whatever you'd like.
We'll talk about it later.
And I will mention, I don't believe I came and did a post-Peach Festival update. I know I offered to, but I did stop into probably 10 businesses along D Street throughout the festival and ask how it's going for them. On Saturday, later in the day, is when I went and visited with shop owners, and the feedback was phenomenal. And that feedback was, we haven't had anybody come in and ask us how we're doing during one of these events ever. A couple of them told me that, and I said, well, that's my fault. I guess I should have done that the last couple of years, but we did it this year, and the feedback was phenomenal.
This is the commercial activity on D mostly, and that's probably between 3rd and 5th, right?
Mostly, yes.
Because there's not much else unless you're going to get a manicure or what have you.
Right. Well, if you remember, prior to Sapphire taking on this event, the booths were up against the curb and gutter and essentially blocked the businesses. And when I first started with Marysville and helped work on the first few Peach Festivals, we had the booths down the center of the street. So I suggested that we go back to that to showcase our businesses and hopefully help our business community during this time. And I think it's been successful.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
I have a couple questions. Obviously, I'm the one that pulled it. So, Carrie.
Yes.
Do you, I don't know if you have these numbers, but I know you're asking for 16 and we have the entertainment at 16. I know that 2 years ago we had Hard Rock, but last year we spent 16, if I remember right, and the city didn't come up with 16,000. So there's some other increases that are here, or lack of revenue, because I don't have anything to compare it what last year's revenue was and last year's expenses.
I believe last year we had $5,000 already in the entertainment budget, and we needed an additional supplement. I believe we were around 10,000 was the additional that we asked for. So that's what last year's budget looked like.
So what did you start with this year before the city taking on this money? Did you? I mean, I see you have 16,000 budgeted, but wouldn't we be somewhat in the same spot? Didn't you have some kind of budgeting in there?
So the additional money that you're talking about is the $3,000. Sapphire Group is right here. We're asking $37,000, and that was $34,000 last year.
Okay, that's the 3,000. Okay, and then I'm a little concerned with. I understand what you're asking, and I get it all. But what's our original contract that included you doing that part of the work? I mean, now we approved a contract, and I didn't realize every year that we were going to add on it was necessarily to yours. I thought it was going to be from the lack of vendor or sponsorships that we would then. My thought or understanding was your fees included the sponsorship or getting the sponsorships.
It did.
So what's the change for the $3,000?
This past year I did not even submit a bill for what I raised over. So I had been thinking about moving to this model, but I work as hard as I possibly can on sponsorship revenue. So getting an additional allotment for raising more is. It's great, but it's not what drives me. Just hitting my goals is what drives me. So I'm happy to go back to the 34,000 because I know I'm going to make it up. I'm going to make up that 3,000 with the 50-50 split we do with the city. If that's what the council chooses to do, I'm happy to do that.
Okay. So with this particular model, we're not doing a 50-50 split?
Right.
Okay, so that means you're retaining all of that. Plus, if I'm looking at it right, you're looking for the additional 3,000 with no split. And in our case, previous case, we would have done the split, and then we would have had that money to invest back in.
Right, and you'll get 100%.
And now we don't have that ability.
You'll get 100% of everything I raise over the sponsor target. I won't get any of it.
Oh, we would get 100% of it. Okay, that's where I was finding this hard to swallow.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I understand.
That we weren't going to get.
But I'm okay with doing it either way. It's pretty much a wash for me. I'd probably end up on the positive side if we did the 50-50 split. Yeah. Okay. No, if understanding that we're getting that 100% above that, which would then allow us something to have to put back in. Although it's going to be running at a loss, so there's not even going to be any of that above and beyond, right? Right, but with
so that's going to be actually zero.
Yeah, hopefully that actual that we're showing in the red, the 16,000. Hopefully we're somewhere closer to 10. But we can modify the budget and go down to one stage of entertainment. We can reduce some things. I mean, the cost, inflation. I mean, we've all seen it. There's things that I buy at the store that are double what they were a few years ago, and we're experiencing that in this space as well.
Yeah. Okay. So when we're looking at this, Jim, and Carrie, is this an up to 16,000, or is it a...
Yes, I think it would be up to, and, well, if Carrie raises more sponsorships, that 16,000 will reduce.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So it's up to 16,
yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have.
Another thing we might do, I know we have some other contributors, agencies, and if price is going up, maybe we ask them for additional funding.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions for me?
Okay, we're going to approve the contract, is that correct? And details to be worked out. So conceptually, we're on the same page. We just have a few differences. All right. What's the will of the council on this?
Make the motion, move to approve.
And I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? None opposed. Passes. It might beat 7 o'clock. Council comments. Oh, no, that's, this is I saw a festival and I thought we'd already covered it. Excuse me. Never mind that 7 o'clock comment. Okay, here we are. We are on the discussion action calendar. Each item here will be acted on. Recommendation, Country Music Festival 2025, downtown Marysville. Pass a motion approving a contract with Sapphire Marketing Group LLC to plan and execute a country music festival in August 2025. August. Shouldn't have said that. In downtown Marysville. Mr. Dan Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is a Sapphire Marketing show tonight, obviously, but I do want to, you mentioned the motion, and basically the city is pleased to introduce a really exciting new event for historic downtown district. It's a one-day country music festival scheduled for August 23rd. That seems like far away, but it's really sooner than you think, Mr. Mayor. The festival will take place on D Street between 3rd and 5th Street and will highlight emerging and established country music artists while showcasing Marysville's rich heritage in the downtown. So here to present on it is Sapphire Marketing, Carrie Hauk.
I'm really excited to present this because I was country when country wasn't cool. So we talked about the dates. Do I have the ability to slide through? No? Okay. Okay. All right. So the idea from this, I'm going to give credit to someone who's joining us tonight, John Cassidy. He has been passionate about bringing a music festival to the area that's similar to like a Nashville-style music festival. So Nashville of the West, I believe, is the name of what, yeah. So his idea and some suggestion from the city, we developed this plan. So what we want to do is create a Nashville, we want to turn downtown Marysville into a Nashville-type environment, using some of the empty buildings as singer-songwriter cafes, and also having stages of entertainment along with vendors. And so, as you can see on this slide, we're looking at August 23rd of this year, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., and it's on D Street between 3rd and 5th. 5th would be closed. and Third would have a diagonal closure. And then, of course, we'd have all the numbered streets in there closed off as well, and have vendors and that sort of thing on. And you'll see a map here coming up. I get the next slide. Okay. So entertainment prospects, I know that this got leaked out on the social media, and there was some confusion. Everybody thought, oh my gosh, Tyler Rich and Nate Smith and John Party are all coming to Marysville. Well, that wasn't the intended plan. We looked at targeting who might come to help us put on this event, and even suggest people that they feel are up-and-comers on the Nashville scene to provide entertainment at this event. So our target for 2025 is Tyler Rich, who will be in the area during this time. And he, I know John's been working with him. I don't want to say anything more than that. But in the future, we have Nate Smith out of Paradise, who is huge on the country music scene now, and John Party, who's just from a little town south of us, up in the foothills there. So it would be great in the future to target some of these big headliners that could, even if they didn't play the show, identify those people for us and come and kick off the event each year. Some of the singer-songwriter targets are listed there, and then there's some more targets on the next page of entertainment that we could potentially bring in. But the closer we get to August, the fuller these schedules are getting. So we would need to move fast to bring this event to Marysville. And some of these names you may recognize. I'd like to supplement some of these names with local country music artists as well. I think it's important to highlight some local country music. Okay, next slide. Here is the footprint that we put together. So as you can see, there's flanking the two ends of the event. There will be stages, there'll be vendors, and those little microphones you see up there, the little round graphics, yes, those are potential singer-songwriter cafes. There's a restaurant, it's not even a restaurant, it's a blank space right across from the Brick that I think would be a great singer-songwriter venue. The old shoe shop, I think the old gym, the Brick, we have Maiden Lane, so there's some great spaces that we could transform into singer-songwriter venues. Okay.
What happens at a singer-songwriter venue?
So usually it's a more acoustical performance, and so it'll be maybe a guitarist and a singer, and there'll be seating, and people will come in and watch them perform.
Why wouldn't you have that in an existing restaurant or what have you?
There are some that we will, like I have identified Edible Memories, their little room as an area, Maiden Lane at the Brick. Plumas, I think I actually have on the list. So there are some that are inside existing businesses, but there are some that are inside of vacant spaces that we could potentially be showcasing for economic development to a wider community.
If I was operating a business down there, food, drink, what have you, and you were taking people into empty buildings, otherwise empty buildings, I'd wonder what was going on.
Well, we expect this to be a very well-attended event with the target age being somewhere between early 20s and 40, and it is a free event for the community to attend. We will be selling some tickets that give access to the singer-songwriter venues where you can have reserved seating. There'll be reserved seating in front of the stage for those folks, but it's a very small number of passes for that additional access. So you may have 3 or 4 different acts going on at the same time, and people will have a schedule, and people will just have to decide which one they want to see.
I just want to add, Mr. Mayor, if I might, the Marysville Business Alliance is also highly engaged in planning and supportive of this event. And they've been along the way for some of the planning, including, as you mentioned, they are interested in having venues within their own restaurants as well. So in addition to the other ones, it would be the same. But I think the expected population, you said, would fill up the street, right?
I think it's going to be elbow to elbow.
Yeah.
Through the chair.
Sir.
So I think it's a great idea, and I've been wanting to get music here for quite some time. You kind of answered the question as why I think you're doing it on D Street, because you want to, work with the business and so forth. But I've also, and I know how my fellow councilmember Buttercovoli feels about the Riverfront Park. Was there any thought to maybe doing something there? I mean, that was a great venue in the 70s.
Which park?
Riverfront Park, where the stage is and all that kind of stuff, and the bowl, where we do the Stampede every year.
There was a lot of consideration. We talked about dates. We talked about doing it on Stampede weekend in downtown Marysville because we felt it would be a huge additional event to attract people to our community, and they could, if we ran shuttles back and forth. We talked about all kinds of different possible scenarios. So I think, this is where we ended up. I think mostly because of some availability, we also want to showcase downtown Marysville. Downtown Marysville is really developing, and we want to see some of those empty spaces filled, which is why we were looking at doing some singer-songwriter venues there.
No, thank you, Jerry. And I think I knew the answer before I asked it. I just wanted to get it out there.
Oh, we tossed around dates in the fall, in the spring. We tossed around a lot of different options, and this is where we landed. But the festival details, it's just a one-day event, although we will do a sponsor event the night before. And the date is fluid. I mean, we have looked at this date. If the council is opposed to this date, we can definitely look at trying to schedule it during a different time. But it does feature 2 stages of entertainment, 4 to 6 singer-songwriter acoustical performances using those locations I mentioned, exhibitors and vendors, and we're not going to have different groups out there that we have at Peach Festival. It's going to be country music centric, people that are selling boots and bags and purses and hats and that kind of thing.
So I guess that's part of the other question I was having is that you're going to make it festival-like, where you're going to have vendors selling stuff. Because I'm kind of curious about the cost. You mentioned that it was going to be free, which was awesome. But how's it going to be paid for otherwise? Asking you sort of like support from the city, or maybe you're going to get to it. We haven't finished all the pages
There's
yet.
There's a budget that's probably in your package. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to look at it, but we will be raising sponsorships. There's vendor revenue. There's swag revenue. We will be selling swag. There's bar revenue. I've met with the chief of police and talked about having, like a Peach Festival, as you know, we don't have any alcohol out on the street. Yes. But I think that's almost a must-have at an event like this.
Can't disagree.
And so we have discussed having bars out on the street that are run by local civic clubs, like, say, Rotary, Kiwanis, and let them raise money for their clubs, but do a split with the city.
Okay.
On that note, I don't see the attachment A. Am I finding it in here?
I didn't see it either, Bruce. That's
because that was going to be my next question is, this is asking, our analysis is asking for this $165,000 budget, but I don't see any budget, any breakdown.
Okay, well, he's going to get copies. I'll move along with the festival details. So we talked about priority seating and services. I've identified 250 people. But I believe we'll have to do an additional 100 seats for sponsors because we are going to have to raise a lot of sponsor dollars to make this happen. You're talking about bringing in big names, small names, and you have to fly them here. You have to put them up. So luckily we have John Cassidy on our team because he has so many relationships that he's going to be essential. I know he's already talking with Hard Rock about this, so I'll let him talk here in just a minute. I'm going to ask him to come up, but I'd like to see a lot of local organizations benefit from this event, like for example, having FFA come in and manage a singer-songwriter location for us and just oversee that location. They can sell some items in there, but give them an opportunity to raise funds at this event. And then we will need a local committee also to help us with sourcing sponsors and deciding on entertainment and making all of the decisions for the event. So we will be putting that together as well.
I mean, on that, is that going to be, you already picked the people you want on the committee, or are you looking for just general?
There's a few people that have actually, I've had a lot of vendors when they saw this floating around the internet contact me and say, we want in.
Nice.
And then I've had a couple of entertainers that have reached out already wanting to perform.
So, okay. I'm liking the idea. One day, one shot.
But yeah, I've had several people say, hey, I'll do whatever it takes on your committee, and we will start, if the city chooses to move forward tonight, we will start building that committee right away.
Awesome. Thank you.
And it will be of all ages, because we need some younger people to be a voice on this committee, because they're the people we're trying to attract, right? They're not trying to attract me. We're trying to attract that younger target audience and introduce them to Marysville.
So real quick, if I may, and this would be a question for Chief Sachs. I mean, obviously, you've had communication, conversation over this with concern. Thank you for that. With the idea of alcohol, open beverage on the street, which I'm a fan of, but it's going to put a task on your department. And so you have a thought and a plan on that? Or are you going to ask to bolster the budget? I'm just, kind of...
We're gonna develop the best plan possible to make it the most successful event possible.
That's a great answer, Chief. Very political. Yes, all right. Very good. All right.
You can tell he's looking forward to it.
So in Nashville, you'll find places like the Bluebird Cafe. We're going to take Marysville iconic names like we might have Proud Mary's Cafe. We might have a Blackbird Cafe. We're going to even put vinyl up on the windows of those vacant spaces to make it look like it's a real open business. So we're going to transform downtown to really mirror some of Nashville, whatever we can. There's a lot of stuff that we can't do, but there's a lot of stuff that we can. So I want to, at this time, introduce John Cassidy. I think most of you know John.
Could I ask one question?
Yes.
So, would it be feasible for those restaurants and establishments that aren't within that cordoned area to participate by using the empty buildings that we intend to have for the artists?
That is a great. I'd have to run that by environmental health at Yuba County to see if that's allowed, because I know businesses that don't have food can't even sell prepackaged food in their stores. Or even jarred, like jelly, that kind of thing, they cannot sell that in their stores. And so if they don't have a food permit in that store, they can't sell it. So I'd have to check with them.
Thank you.
But we can certainly set them up like Cisco's, for example. We could certainly they came over at Peach Festival over to Dist Street, and they did very, very well. And we can definitely bring them into the vendor area.
So, like a catering from a restaurant or something like that could potentially happen, because that restaurant does have to maintain their own insurance and permit for catering and so forth with the county health. So you're open to that idea, which is great. Mm-hmm. If Cisco's can do it, there are other local restaurants that can do it as well.
We had Edible Memories and Cisco's both right out there on D Street between 3rd and 4th for the Peach Festival, and they both did outstanding.
No, I like your idea, too, about getting the local organizations, FFA and so forth, Seratimus clubs, Kiwanis, whatever, to be the bars, because it's beneficial for them.
Well, and if you look back to like the Prune Festival,
yes,
that was all of those, the food tents, they were all run by local organizations, and they depended on that event every year for a majority of their revenue. So we want to help the community, but what my idea was to open it up for those like, hey, we need a hot dog vendor, we need this vendor, we need that vendor, open it up and ask the nonprofit community, which one do you want to take on?
Perfect.
And if nobody fills that spot, then we'll take other outside vendors.
Okay, thank you.
Carrie, are the cafes just for like people to go in and sit down to eat the food that they're buying from the vendors, or you're not planning on having actual kitchens in there? As you said, you couldn't, right?
No, I don't think we can in the empty spaces. However, there will be seating in front of the stages, just like we do at Peach Festival. Yeah. So there'll be seating there, and they could buy food and bring it into a singer-songwriter venue. And that's where I think like we could get FFA Club to maybe sell additional items in their waters and chips and candy bars or whatever that they want to do inside those spaces as an additional fundraising for them.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the budget, and we're looking at sponsor revenue of $110,000. and I don't know if that's a little rambunctious, but we have, for the Peach Festival, we have 27,000. This is 4 times what you're hoping to bring in. And they're a month apart. Do we have some really strong sponsors that are going to be interested in this that aren't necessarily interested in the Peach Festival? Because that's 4 times the amount.
I know I need to get started right now.
Yeah.
So I do think that because of the nature of this event, we're going to cast our net wider than what we do for Peach Festival. I'm also going to push a Peach Festival sponsor package at these people that we don't normally target. So maybe our numbers will end up in the black for Peach Festival. But I'm looking at more Sacramento, Chico. Think of like a 50 or 60 mile radius of Marysville. I mean, this is going to be a big opportunity to sponsor. I mean, I think we can go after big business, big organizations. So, and some of the sponsorships are not going to be small. We're talking, the top sponsorship being $25,000. I think we can easily raise, about $6,000 to $7,000, $10,000 sponsors. So, do I think it's doable? Yes, but we'd have to get to work.
I guess I'm a little concerned if we're unable to pick that up, if you're unable to raise that, we don't have any kind of a bottom line that the city would be paying for. It's just everything that's not covered.
Is that the ask?
Am I looking at that right?
What I'm seeing here is a conceptual plan. It says to approve a contract. Well, there's no contract here, so we don't know what the specifics yet, and the responsibilities and where the risks lie. That said, conceptually, it's more than intriguing.
Oh, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
No, it's. I don't think anybody's shaking their head like this at the concept, but there's some details that need to be considered. And when do you have to know for certain this is a go?
If the council would like to move forward and indicate so tonight, I would suggest that we move forward and perhaps maybe next council meeting or the following council meeting.
You need to know by the I would guess a month from now, because there's got to be 6 months of planning on this.
I would say at least the first council meeting in March would be the latest we could look at for an August event.
Sure. So we need to understand the specifics where the risks lie for the city, which is, I think, what you're speaking to, and where the opportunities lie and other details. But obviously, the reason for, well, we're patriotic. We have a 4th of July. It's a great parade. All kinds of wonderful. Don't sponsor that. Christmas parade, festival we had. The idea is to bring attention to Marysville as an attractive place to live and enjoy yourself and do business. And I can see a connection. It might be one of those things that turns into gold over the long term.
Yeah. Well, can we invite?
But this is a matter of first impression for me, so I'm reacting without knowing any more than I've seen here.
Yeah, I want to applaud Terry for Terry called me, and we've been kicking this around for a couple of years. And Bruce
Mr. John Cassidy, by the way.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and
Sir.
Council. And congratulations, new council people. Awesome. Bruce knows more than anybody that the music business is probably the fastest way to lose money versus make money. So if you don't really understand what you're getting into, it's not a good thing. I've been fortunate to be successful. I wore this hat tonight just for you, Bruce. We're going to our 13th year for the event this year. It just so happens that Tyler will probably be playing that same week, which would kick off this event that week. He's going to play at Hard Rock again. We sold it out last year, 2,500 again, and we had a great event. Raised a lot of money for charity. I think what the city of Marysville has in regards to the potential of this event, this is just one person's opinion, is that D Street sets up like Broadway. How many people been to Broadway Nashville. Well, it sets up very similarly. Obviously, there's probably 20 blocks of Broadway, and you're using a few, but it's very similar in architecture, very similar in design. How many people are familiar with Country in the Park? How about Country in the Park 2? How about Golden Sky? Those are three major country events that have developed in Sacramento over the last 5 to 10 years. And there was one, Country in the Park. Then there was Country in the Park 2. Now there's Golden Sky. You're talking 20,000 country music fans 3 different times during the summer down there. Now, none of these, as Bruce, I'll reiterate again, none of these things are a guaranteed success. But I think you have a unique opportunity to show the term I've used historically is Nashville West. Because it really does look like Nashville West down there on D Street versus Broadway. And Carrie talked about maybe putting some thematic labels on some of the buildings down there, which helps you market your town. You just had the worst and greatest publicity a city's ever gotten with the Marysville Hotel going down. Everybody in the region has heard Marysville, Marysville, Marysville. And I think if you package Marysville as a country music enclave, songwriters, singers, and it is largely conceptual at this point, how it'll really finally look, I think you could showcase Marysville in a way to a bunch of people in the region within probably 100 miles. People come from all over for those festivals. It's unbelievable. And this is a musical community, as you all know. So anyway, I would just add that I think it could be really successful. I think it could be developed over time. I think to the mayor's point, you have a golden opportunity here because this is a country music region, and no one has what you have downtown that's very similar to Broadway in Nashville. And if you've ever been there, it's 364 days a year of 600 acts a day playing on a variety of floors in those buildings that look just like you have on D Street. Some of them are 3 and 4 stories. They've been expanded there. But you got 600 acts, 364 days a year playing down there. And this Nashville West theme you could really capture, I think. So that's all I want to add. Thank you for listening.
It's like
Carrie, I applaud Carrie for jumping in there.
You brought back memories of the French Quarter. You can walk down the street.
Very similar.
Go in, see a great band, walk 10 paces further down the street, and you see another one.
Well, Mr. Mayor, you don't have to walk 10 paces down the street. You just have to walk upstairs.
Well,
2, 3, 4 floors in some of these places. But yeah, you can keep just bar hopping all the way down. I think that's the concept Carrie was really trying to share. Plus, it showcases a lot of your retail space you're trying to fill in. And if you can get, over time, thousands of people running through those streets down there, I think it bodes well for what Marysville's future looks like. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Through the chair, sir, if I may. I love this conceptual idea. I say yay, go for it. But I guess we're approving potentially a contract with Sapphire Marketing for this plan. What is the ask besides the approving this? Is there a financial cost at this point? I mean, is it like just to go and contract you on another project has a price tag?
When we go to contract, you're saying the city of Marysville, if I don't raise a dime, you're on the hook for $165,000. That's the total cost of the event. So
that's what I wanted to know.
That's that. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's what it is. Do I think we can achieve this budget? I do. I'm confident we can.
I believe you, Carrie. I wanted to get that out there.
Mm-hmm.
That.
And what John mentioned about showcasing our retail spaces, we could work with the owners of those buildings too and post information inside those buildings about this space is this many square feet and it rents for this much, and try and get some of those spaces rented out over time. So I definitely think it will improve the economy in downtown too.
Absolutely, I don't disagree. Thank you for answering that question. That's all I got, Mayor. I'm ready to move on a motion if you know.
Okay. I don't think we need to specifically approve anything here. We're on track to look towards a meeting in early March,
yes.
Up or down.
Mm-hmm.
And between now and then, there'll be active conversation between the city and Mr. Cassidy. Are you going to be involved in these conversations? Okay. I'm not knocking you, Carrie. I'm just trying to figure out who's involved.
John is the face of this event. That's what this is his passion project, and I'd like to help see it be a reality.
I just want to get a sense of where buy-in is happening. Okay.
And admittedly, he has a lot more contacts than I do. So, yeah.
Bruce.
On our end of this here, it's asking for approve a contract, and
We're not doing that.
okay, I was going to say, I don't know that I'm ready to approve a $165,000 contract that could fall all back on us. It won't, I know that. But I think we might need to have a little more some discussions on this, where we're going with it. I will say I'm all in favor of it. I think it's a great idea. I love that you have John involved. He's got magic fingers, but I don't want to be hung out for $165 grand.
So the wording of the item number 9 is a little premature. We're not approving a contract. We are nodding yes to the concept for further consideration.
That's right.
I'm with you 100% on that, and I get that if we're not doing that. But what are we going to be looking at between now and the 1st of, what did we say, March?
March, So we'll work on...
What will be the plan for you to bring back to us for us to make this decision?
We would, well, I'd like to work with staff to confirm a date, and John to confirm the date, because make sure that there are no other conflicting events going on. I know that there's been one that's been brought to my attention, and my thought was, how do we bring them into the fold? Because it's a local service club that's putting this event on, and how do we bring them in and help them help us, and so on.
Why don't you do all that and get together with city management early part of next week, and we'll figure out where to go from there.
Right. Okay. That sounds great. All right. Thank you.
John, that sound good to you? Good.
Question for council. Councilmember Hudson was ready to do a motion. Procedurally, what do we need to do here?
We don't need a motion or anything.
Well, we're not going to have a contract for another month. There's your answer.
No, we considered the matter, and it's under further consideration, pending details and deeper thought.
And you're directing
Is everybody
staff
okay with that?
to engage.
Everybody's okay with that here? Yes. Okay. Is that legal? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Council comments. Marjorie.
Let's see, I'm going to be going to the EDC board meeting on Friday, so that's my first one of my, going to be my second assigned appointment committee, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that with this new opportunity potentially, that it would be great, but again, I would be concerned about the funding as well. That's it, and thank you to staff for everything you do for us.
Councilman Gilchrist.
I have no committee reports at this time, and thank you, city staff, for keeping us safe during the high water moments we're having.
Brad.
I too got no committee reports, which I'm okay with. Council comments align with the other council members. I know that the staff did a lot of work on our winter hiatus, and I just want to thank you for all that and what we're continually doing, and stay dry.
Vice Mayor.
I don't have any committee reports. We're just now getting back to having meetings with our different committees. I do want to say that for those of you that didn't make it to, and I don't even know what the official term was, the Buckeye fundraiser, what's the official name, Stuart?
That's a good question. It was a Buckeye fundraiser.
Yeah.
Valerie Sutton, it was one of the first of its kind.
It was a lot of fun. I don't know how successful it was. I haven't heard from anybody. Stuart did a good job as a MC, but it was fun if you didn't make it there. I do want to thank PD, FD, and PW, because they're all going to be working their little fannies off probably this next week. So I'm going to thank you in advance for that. And I think that's it. But and staff's doing a good job. We're back to meetings here. Glad to see Mr. Mahler on the planning, and hopefully we have a very successful year this year.
All right, you get to say something too, don't you, Jim? My only comment, do you have any council correspondence? Get that out of the way.
We do, actually. In your binders, Council, there is an invitation for retirement for Bob Harlan. He is the United Way Executive Director.
My only comment, and this pertains to the hotel, even though it's down, and we have to haul away the pile. Over the next year, maybe a couple of years, we'll be hopefully generating interest in that property, commercial interest in that property, and trying to decide what it should be next. We all know what we'd like it to be. We'd like it to be something wonderful. And this is a thought I've shared with others, and a thought I shared with a reporter who put it in a story, and that is, we'll be judged for decades on what we decide. That's a big undertaking. It's a real big undertaking. It's a high-profile location. No offense to quick-serve restaurants. Oh, okay. But that is going to be something significant, and it's on the runway right in front of us. And it's, even though it's 2 years probably to field something, get something qualified. We had an excellent approach when we secured the hotel, the Hyatt, the B Street property, and I understand we're going to take the same approach. The plan is to take the same approach, engage a real estate professional to go out and drum up interest, and it worked, and hopefully that'll work at that property. Mr. City Manager, what do you have to share?
A few items, a couple of events. First of all, Buckeye Parade on the 1st and 2nd, coming right up of March. We do have a ribbon cutting at Rich Coleman Insurance on March 19th. And we had already mentioned the Cal Water Developer Workshop on March 3rd. I think the time is to be announced still. Is that correct?
11 a.m.
11?
Yeah.
Okay. And then some internal stuff, good results on finance director interviews. We have got some very good prospects and hope to have a decision on candidates, a selection this week, and would be looking forward to getting somebody on board. Another thing, I've been attempting to keep everybody in the loop on our federal grants and the new federal administration, Mr. Trump's administration, and how that affects federal grants. It's been a roller coaster. We were frozen, unfrozen, and right now there has been no direct indication from any of the agencies that the grants are being held up, and we don't have any grants that are hand-to-mouth, so to speak. Our grants, timing-wise, is out of way. We have the CDBG projects and some other larger infrastructure projects that I don't believe would be affected in the first place. And secondly, they're not going to create a cash flow concern beyond what we already have to manage. So that was it. Thank you, Mayor.
Sir, the next regular meeting of the Marysville City Council will be Tuesday, February 18th, 2 weeks hence at 6 p.m. And adjourned.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake. where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
In Marysville, where roots run deep, McNally Appliances promises to keep the best brands with a smile on its face. We service what we sell, it's a warm embrace. Competitive pricing you can't ignore. With every purchase you'll love it more. From fridges to washers, all in a line. We install with care to make it shine. Major brands, trusted and true. McNally Appliances is here for you. Oh, Nally McNally, we're your first choice. In Marysville, we help you rejoice. We service what we sell, no need to stress. At McNally Appliances, we're simply the best. Our promise stands, we'll always be here. McNally Appliances, bringing you cheer.
McNally Appliances, 119 D Street, Marysville. McNallyAppliances.com. You've seen signs marking some of the gyms in Marysville. They're produced by Sapphire Sign Company, providing something small, large, and mobile. With decades of experience, Sapphire Signs has pioneered local production of a variety of signs, like temporary campaign-style signs, welcomes for unique events, building signage, event promotion, and vehicle customization. Need a sign? Make it a gem from Sapphire Sign Company. On the web at sapphiremarketinggroup.net. Sapphire.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties.
In Yuba County, there's a legendary diner.
Oh, delicious. Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Where the parking lot tells a story. A story as simple as biscuits and gravy.
The food is good. The prices are wonderful. My dad has so many friends here that come here, and it's my dad and mom have known Mary Jane and her dad before Duke.
Duke's Diner on 7th Avenue, home of legendary chili, holiday pies, and generations of local residents preparing tasty, hearty food for generations of local people. Join Mary Jane and her genial associates as they serve meals you'll come back for. Duke's Diner on 7th Avenue, Olivehurst.
Yuba-Sutter alive. It's the truth that comes through.